How's it going? I'm Alex. I'm with the Hardside Podcast. Cam, you became a fan favorite last year. I don't know if you kind of picked up on that out here, but I think that, you playing at Alabama, big guy. How does that how do you take what you did last year and kind of work your way into the starting rotation this year, you think?
Just take that work ethic that I had last year and just try to improve on that and just study the game, come out here and just compete each and every day and don't take no days off.
And you feel good after, I know last year kind of didn't go the way you wanted. You feeling good this year?
Oh, yeah, perfect. Yeah. I feel great, better than last year.
That's good. Quarterback competition, how does that impact you guys, the receivers?
It don't impact us none because we just got our job to catch the ball, so it don't matter who throw it. From the O-lineman to the running back, we got to catch the ball.
Well, if the O-line's throwing the ball, something.
Facts.
Of the quarterbacks who are kind of competing here, have you built any kind of unique rapports with any of these guys, or all of them kind of?
I build relations with all of them because I really don't know who gonna be there week one, so it's perfect to just build a relationship with all the quarterbacks. So when whoever come starting day one, you just go and continue with the process.
But you got to know passing will be the future too at the same time. So I'm sure that one's the one you got to worry about, right?
Yeah, that's why you build relationships with each and every quarterback.
Yeah. Anything you would want fans to know that's kind of unique about yourself, like off the field? Like, do you have any weird hobbies that fans don't usually know about?
Man, my weird hobbies. I really don't really have a weird hobby. I'm a real chill person. I just be on FaceTime with my daughter for real.
FaceTime all the time?
Playing 2K, that's all.
Oh, okay. This doesn't work out. You can always try out for the 2K leagues.
Hey, look,
right?
Man, I've been hearing people get paid big money for that, so shoot, hey.
6 figures or something that ain't bad.
What is called the 2K league?
Yeah.
Hey, if y'all need to pick up somebody, hit up Cam Sims, and I got you.
There's a team in D.C., Leonsis owns it. So.
Oh yeah, hey, holla at me. Cam Sims, number 89, holla at me.
Okay. Thanks for your time.
For sure.
Yeah, you have a good day.
You too.
How are you going about dividing your time amongst all the quarterbacks?
How are we finding time on what?
How are you going about dividing your time amongst all the quarterbacks? Spending more time with Haskins or
all of them. We talk to one, we talk to them all. We have to speak the same language to all of them. Very, very important. So Tim Rattay speaking the same language as Coach Cavanaugh and Coach O'Connell and myself. So when they are talking to Tim Rattay in the quarterback room, it's an extension of what I want. So we, as a quarterback position, they all have to hear the same thing. They're all coached the same. Nobody's coached any different. Now, we may have a group of plays that might be specific for one quarterback, but for the most part, when we're installing our offense, everybody spoke to it the same way.
Good morning. That's Mike Weiser, you know.
Let's get it over with.
I'm just going to ask about Dominic. Is he still here, or is there an update on him?
No, he's not here right now.
Okay.
No update.
Cool. You guys have the day off tomorrow. Is there anything you've accomplished or you're looking forward to about this first portion we've had here?
Yeah, it's been a great 4 days. We've got the bulk of our install in, both offensively and defensively, and special teams. So having a day off is good. And then we'll come back on Tuesday and have a nice review of some of the things we've hit on, and then be able to add some more on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I think it's been a pretty successful start so far as implement what we want to implement and getting a look at some guys.
What is the status on Reuben Foster? It looks like it looks like he's maybe a brace on his lower leg, maybe not ACL knees. That's something he's still wearing at this point.
Yeah, he had successful surgery. That's all I know. And then he's wearing something for his foot a little bit, but he's walking around great energy. He's helping out in drills here and there. He's sitting in meetings. He's still a big part of this football team. He's just going to have to rehab, and it's going to be a long road for him. But he's the type of guy that'll put the work in.
You guys have done this camp in Richmond a few years now. Obviously, it's decisions above your pay grade. But what benefits do you guys get as a football team out of going away for training camp, and how it's different when you're back internationally?
None, really. Just practice and meetings, no matter where you do it, on a parking lot, on a field, in Richmond, back home, in California, wherever you want to do it. You still have to go through training camp and really hone in on football and the dedication. that you have to have to the sport and the meeting time, the focus that you have to have, maintain a focus throughout meetings and practice, walkthroughs. That's all the same thing. Richmond's a nice place. It's a great field for us. But at the end of the day, it's all about getting our players ready in the meeting room and out here on the practice field.
Coach, is there a particular position battle you're interested to see play out this training camp?
No, not really. I mean, all of them really. You know, I can go through every position, and it's fun to watch. We have great competition at every position. So the most important thing is to really get the work in and try to get these guys enough reps where some of the guys who haven't got a lot of reps can get more and more throughout the camp. So they're ready for the preseason games where they can show us what they have. So special teams obviously is a big part of it, but the position battles are fun to watch.
Jay, 3 days into practice now, how would you assess the quarterback play from all your guys?
I think they're all coming along. You know, they've all made their share of mistakes, which every quarterback has done in the NFL. They've made their share of good plays, but the most important thing is for them to just continue to learn and build upon what they've learned each day and focusing on the situations that we're trying to preach upon. Big thing is also is making sure they protect themselves, you know, in the protections. We've had a couple protection assignment errors, but the quarterback can fix them, and those are the big things I'm worried about. And then obviously getting used to the terminology and the structure of each play.
We know that's been trouble for Dwayne being a rookie, but is the protection stuff happening with Casey Colt as well?
Well, I mean, it's happened a little bit. I mean, everything's happened a little bit, both positively, and there's been some things that we can coach of. Sometimes we've seen a look that maybe we hadn't coached or prepared for, so to speak. So it's great to see all these looks. Coach Manowski's doing a great job of mixing it up, especially in their sub packages with all the different fronts and backer jams and double A's and all that stuff. So it's early in camp, man. We have new linemen coming in here, and quarterbacks are getting used to them, and centers and the backs got to get used to seeing it too. So it's just a process, but they're all doing just fine.
Jim, now that Alex Smith is going to be around these guys a bit more, have you seen any sort of help and benefits in having him with those guys in the room?
Yeah, I think he's just a calming influence for him. You know, he's very supportive for each individual guy. He'll get on him when he needs to get on him a little bit in a fun-loving kind of way. But he's just a great presence to have in the quarterback room, and we obviously welcome it whenever he wants to come in here. He's been in every quarterback meeting so far.
Did you have him spend maybe even some extra time with a guy like Dwayne just because of his experience in the NFL and to have a year in the summer?
Right now we're in the adding the plays right now, and so there's not a whole lot of extra time. We have to install plays, and we have to watch the practice tape, and we have to make the corrections and then install and prepare for the walkthroughs and prepare for practice and all that. So there's not a whole lot of individual time that he has, but there will be.
With Cam, he's played so many years in the NFL, we've seen him so big. Is there anything that you want to teach him to elevate his game, or is he kind of just, you know what he is, let him run?
Well, he's got his own style, that's for sure. There's not a lot you can do to change a quarterback style this late in his career, but there are some fundamental things that we can work on as far as what we try to do with footwork and timing, anticipation, reads, all that stuff. So we do have some things we have to clean up for what we do, but for the most part, when it's all said and done and the ball's snapped, there are parts of his game that he's comfortable with doing, and he probably won't change. And some of them are very good.
Will Jerron go today? And one number two, playing day yesterday off for Colts. Do you guys need to work those regularly in, I guess, through these things, just with his rehab of his leg?
Yeah, we try not to give him go 4 days in a row, you know, so we're going to try to give him a day off, you know, every third day or what have you. So he'll go today. Jerron won't go today. We're trying to get him and Chase ready for Tuesday. So hopefully that'll be the case. And we'll, you know, there'll be an occasional player here or there or that might sit out a day or two, just depending on how they're feeling, or if they ran a lot the day before, we may take some reps off of them, so to speak.
Jay, during the offseason, you talked about David Rose, and you were really impressed with him. You said he was one of the most improved players along with Sean Hamilton. What specifically did you see from Fabian during the offseason that led you to?
I think his confidence in his technique, and he's got great speed, and he knows it. You know, sometimes these guys with great speed, they tend to play further off than they probably should, but Fabian's starting to challenge receivers a lot more, getting his hands on. He's really good with his hands right now. With all the defensive backs, the way the rules are, we have to really work on getting their hands off after 5 yards, and that's been a challenge for everybody, for every DB in the league. I think that'll be a challenge. So But he's doing great. He's playing inside, he's playing outside. Obviously, Dunbar had a great day yesterday, had 3 or 4 picks, so the secondary is starting to shape up pretty good.
Jay, the word is that you're the guy who discovered Paul Holcomb in this office. How does that come about? You just sit around watching North Carolina tape and it jumps out, or is this you looking for certain things? How does that work?
Where'd that word come from?
What's that?
Where'd that word come from? Where it is? Cole Holcomb? No, we all had Cole Holcomb. You know, he probably had a little bit lower grade than I would like to have seen, but I just, you know, the guy can run. You know, his pro day ran 4.47, and at the end of the day, when you're trying to get linebackers, we're trying to improve the speed of our football team. And he had over 100 tackles 3 years in a row at North Carolina. And watching him on tape, I thought he ran sideline to sideline. He had great instincts, played smart, finished tackles. I thought was a very good player, and he's proven us right so far, but we still have to get in the game to see him tackle. You know, that same thing I mentioned with Moreland yesterday. They're doing great in thud periods and all that stuff, but when it comes down to it, it's all about tackling for these defensive players, and we got to make sure he can tackle. But he's a great kid, very smart, very diligent. He's up early studying, stays late studying. He's going to be a good player for us.
But when you're looking at tape, I mean, do you specifically look, I'm going to look for linebackers here, or are you just kind of randomly looking at that time?
I was watching North Carolina defense. I had a defensive end, outside linebacker I was watching as well as Holcomb, and ended up watching about 8 or 9 games on him, and was very impressed with the way he played.
How are you going about dividing your time amongst all the quarterbacks?
How are we finding time on what?
How are you going about dividing your time amongst all the quarterbacks? Spending more time with Haskins or
All of them. We talked to one, we talked to them all. We have to speak the same language to all of them. Very, very important. So Tim Rattay speaking the same language as Coach Cavanaugh and Coach O'Connell and myself. So when they are talking to Tim Rattay in the quarterback room, it's an extension of what I want. So we, as a quarterback position, they all have to hear the same thing. They're all coached the same. Nobody's coached any different. Now, we may have a group of plays that might be specific for one quarterback, but for the most part, when we're installing our offense, everybody spoke to it the same way.
How do you assess the linebacker battles with Montez and Brian Anderson? Just what your thoughts about the two of them, how they play so far in the first days?
Yeah, I think when you're talking about outside linebacker and defensive line, I think the rotation is going to be big for us. We have to stay fresh. Ryan Anderson's doing a great job. He can set the edge, and he's getting much better in his pass rush. You can see he's worked on it. He's picked up a little bit of speed, it looks like, lost a few pounds, but he's done well. And then Montez is a freak. But to keep those guys fresh with Kerrigan and Casanova, Mackenzie Casanova, they're doing a good job. He's doing a good job, and Brailford's not here, but he had a great, promising OTA session. Once he gets back from injury, he's in the mix as well as Smith. He's doing a good job too. So all these outside linebackers are that's another interesting position battle to watch. Special teams will come down to it, but when you're talking about game day, it's going to be important to keep these guys fresh because we got to get after the quarterback and stop the run, obviously.
When you were talking about the linebackers, you mentioned Jimmy and some of these young guys on the defensive side of tackling is going to be essential. Obviously, they're not tackling. So how do you feel about evaluating how well they can be back and how actually do it?
Yeah, we might have a period here and there, a live period here, maybe next week or so, but then it comes down to preseason games and get them in there and see what happens. I don't anticipate any issue with any of those guys I've talked about, but still it'll come up with somebody on our football team that may not be as physical as we want them to be, but by the looks of it so far, I think all our guys and all the research we've done on them, they wouldn't be here if they couldn't tackle. But still, they're going to have to show us that they're physical and make some plays.
Coach, you had a lot of changes from this year last year at the receiver position, and you got one guys like Harmon and McLaren. What are your thoughts on the receiver position going to camp with guys like Freddie Quinn?
Yeah, it's a good group. Cam Sims has come back from the injury and made some big time splash plays. Rob Davis, watching him come back off his injury, he's starting to get more and more. You can see him getting more confident in his leg and his movement. He's doing pretty good. Obviously, Harmon and Terry, they're doing a great job. Paul Richardson's feeling his way back in, and then Josh is making some plays. So Trey Quinn's got the inside spot pretty much locked down. Kidsey and Sims, they're competing for the backup role probably, but we'll wait and see. But it's a good group, man. They all bring something different to the table. I like the fact that we have a number of guys that can also go in there and block and are physical, that help our running game out. And we have some speed, we have some size, so we have a little bit of variety there. It's a good group.
What do you think of Jordan Reed's swing?
I think it's been amazing. Really, he's last year. What? last year. What do I think about his training camp so far?
Last year. What did you think of Jordan Reed's 25 season?
Thanks for the translation.
Well, you know, Jordan Reed, he missed the last few games because of his injury, obviously, which hurt his stats. And then we had the quarterback issues there for a little while, which probably hurt his numbers. But I think Jordan had a pretty good year. You know, it didn't get as many touches because of the situation that we were in at quarterback probably. And then his injury at the end of the year. But you talk to anybody around the league, he's as good a tight end as there is running routes, catching the football.
And then just for the guys on PUP, how are they coming along? You mentioned Jordan and getting something.
Yeah, they're coming along fine. Obviously, NFI is Love. You know, it'll be a while for him probably, but the other guys, you know, Alex, you know, he's coming along fine. Who else do we have on there? I forgot. Oh yeah, I mentioned Brailford. He's, you know, hopefully a couple weeks out maybe. We'll wait and see. Danny's getting close as well.